What do you genuinely not understand? Why I continue to procrastinate and self-sabotage. Edit. Thanks for all the awards and comments. Just wanted to say a few things. 1. This was not supposed to be a cry for help. I am fine, just was in a bad mood yesterday when I posted. 2. Yes, I have ADD, depression and anxiety. Anyone who suggested that may be the cause is correct. 3. I am on meds. They help a ton. 4. If this comment rang true to anyone, I would definitely recommend seeing a mental health professional. It can make a world of difference. 5. Anyone who suggested it's because I'm lazy, not disciplined, or any other, thanks insecure type nonsense, you can go fuck yourself. Let's find that out later. This is totally due to me not looking it up, but I don't know how dry cleaning works. Understandable. It's a liquid, like a solvent, that is water-free. The order of emails in a Gmail thread. The one you are looking for is always hidden somewhere in the middle. Chemistry. I only passed because my professor curved every F to a C. You got an E. Sudden motivation at midnight. I've read that it's due to there being no pressure or thoughts of what could go wrong. This is due to the fact that the motivation is typically for things that would be in the future or carry over into the future, and there is no reason to start or finish the things being thought of at that moment. Why does the word fridge have the letter D in it, while refrigerator does not? Fuck this shit, I didn't realize that. How these dogs that have these dense bangs hanging over their eyes can see a single goddamn thing. Ask the emo kids. That no concept of an absolute position in space exists. Oh, for fuck's sake. My day was going so well. Thanks for that. Bitcoin mining. Solving algorithms. What? Who? Why? Imagine if keeping your car idling 24/7 produced solved Sudokus you could trade for heroin. Edit. My friends, I paraphrased this from something I read years ago and the original source is apparently a tweet. I am not comfortable with all these awards. Why the fuck does my brain only realize I'm wrong after I've already done it? And why is the time between hitting send and realizing that was dumb measured in femtoseconds? Space. It makes my brain hurt trying to figure out things like stars and black holes, etc. The size and distances with space are hard to fathom. The time it takes to get anywhere is depressing. Why do people who seem miserable as parents decide to have more kids? I'd like to direct this question towards the parents I currently nanny for. The father clearly doesn't like his kids, has said before he never even wanted kids, and yet they have three children that are quite honestly some of the worst behaved kids I've ever worked with, and I've been working with kids in and out of a school setting going on 15 years now. Why didn't you stop after the first one? How light is both a particle and a wave? It's neither. It's something that we don't have a word for and that doesn't exist in a way that we can sense directly. But this unnamed thing happens to act in a way similar to a wave in some situations and like a particle in others. A cylinder will roll like a sphere in one direction but not roll like a cube in the other. That doesn't make it a sphere and a cube at the same time. It makes it something different. Edit. Thanks for all the awards. Edit 2. To answer the many, why don't we name it then? Or, we do have a name for it, it's light, photons, something else, comments. The problem isn't the lack of a word, the problem is how to convey the meaning behind the word. Plus typo fixs. The YouTube algorithm. Let's recommend this video to everyone. In 5 years. And again 5 years later also this shit YouTube. You can't say anything R-rated also YouTube. Can you feel the difference between a dildo and a real cock? Edit. Holy shit, this blew the fuck up. RIP my inbox. I really do not get how a needle in a record player bouncing back and forth can create such rich sound. How electricity works. Amps, volts, watts, etc. Ugh. Amps. How many electrons flow? Volts. The force with which the generator is pushing these electrons. Watts. The amount of energy carried every second. This of course depends on the amount of electrons, so the amps, and the force they are pushed, so the volts, watt-hours, if watts is the speed of energy transfer, this is the distance, that is the total amount of energy you transfer. Which means that if you have 200 watt-hours of energy available and something consumes 100 watts, you can only power it for 2 hours. If it consumes 50 watts, you can power it for 4 hours. Other ones? My intentions when doing things. It seems that I can attribute everything I do to manipulation and attention seeking, and it's kinda unsettling. Those people who do parkour on high-ass buildings. One mistake and you're dead. Well, they get a buzz out of that feeling of risk, and so they keep doing it to keep replicating that buzz. If it was safe, they wouldn't do it because there would be no excitement. People that treat everybody around them terribly then complain that nobody likes them. People that proudly say, "Yeah, I'm an asshole." Quantum physics. But mostly how there could ever be a smallest thing. Like everything is made up of something else. Zooming down, how could there be something that's not made up of smaller parts? Like string theory, right? Smallest thing is supposed to be vibrating strings of energy. Like what is that energy made of? I don't get it. The stock market. Why the hiring process at most companies is so damn slow. Back in the 60s, you could walk into a business asking about a job on Friday and start work the following Monday. Now, despite having access to tons of information about a candidate on the internet, it takes 6 or more weeks in many cases. My ex once interviewed for a job and thought she did terrible. She never heard back at all, so accepted something else that she interviewed for at the same time. They called her almost 2 months later to tell her they had accepted her and she had the job. Her response: "No, I have a great job, and why would I even want to work for a place that treats a future employee like that?" They seemed generally confused that she wasn't waiting for them to call her. Existence and self-aware. The more you think, the more the concept of I is creepy. My consciousness was ripped from the void and shoved into this body. Does it go back when I die? Is it nothingness, or something more? How I get taller and more handsome every time my grandma sees me. After waiting in a long line to check out, why is it that people don't have their money ready? They get to the register and have to search for a credit card or look for coupons. All that time in line, they could have had it organized and ready to go. Yes, oh my god. They look at the cashier annoyed when there's a long line, and when they get to the end, they take 5 minutes looking for their method of payment. Like, bitch, what have you been doing in line? How some people seem to get through life without a job, with no responsibility, no money, and they're totally fine. Meanwhile, I'm busting my ass trying to make a living for myself and my family and struggling like hell. This right here. I have a buddy exactly like this. He's super charismatic and just has connections that hook him up with all sorts of fun stuff. He actually wasn't that great of a friend because he would always blow everyone off because something better came along. How people are capable of learning activities that require repetition to get better at, like art. I seem to never develop any muscle memory at all, and even without that issue there's still the problem of not having a structured, trivial to follow path to follow, without which I never really remember anything. Art is highly technical actually. Even if you can't draw a straight line to save your life, learning the elements of art will help. Then you can focus on correcting your inability to draw straight. How people get up in the morning feeling good and refreshed. I have woken up tired since before I can remember. I don't understand if they just mentally power through the tired, or if they feel something I can't. People who don't get nervous when public speaking. It's particularly weird for me because I'm a nervous wreck right up until I actually start presenting. I once did a summer internship thing where we all had to present our stuff at the very end, and I had people years later telling me how impressed they were by my confidence. Little do they know I was strategizing ways of removing myself from the entire situation. Maybe if I just go to the bathroom and they skip me then forget to come back to me at the end? Or I could pretend to have lost my voice. Waking up early, 4 a.m., to go to work. Whoever invented it is an asshole. There's a kid in my high school that lives so far away he has to wake up at 3 a.m. to get to school on time. Why it's so damn hard to be happy 95% of the time when you have a stable job, good health, family and everything. Like, I have all of the pieces but something is constantly missing. Ugh. Side note. I'm fine, it's just annoying. Edit. Thank you for all of the awards and kind words. Be kind to each other. Why do I trust myself to fail so much and like myself so little? Why do I hate positive attitude advice from people? Because you're aware of all your flaws, while being aware of only a fraction of other people's flaws. So by comparison, you think you're worse. You're not worse. It's just that you can't hide your own flaws from yourself as well as people can hide theirs from you. Bitcoins and NFTs. Fuck me, NFTs are stupid. What's an NFT? Greater than. It stands for non-fungible token. Basically it's a digital signature saying you own the original of a digital artwork. There can be unlimited copies, but you own the original. Less than people say it's like owning the original of a painting instead of a print, but it's not. It's more like making a whole bunch of prints and then destroying the original painting, then saying that one of those prints is the original. It's the dumbest fucking nonsense I've ever heard. Unless of course you believe in that conspiracy theory that all expensive art is just a massive money laundering scheme. In which case NFTs make perfect sense. Polygamy. I have nothing against it and I admittedly haven't done that much reading on it. Just the idea of dealing with more than one person stresses me out mentally. I would imagine any woman that is okay with you also being married to another woman is probably gonna be pretty easygoing. Unless you mean like a secret second family. Yeah, those guys be crazy. What was there before the Big Bang? My money's on previous universe that collapsed in on itself and then exploded out into ours, ad infinitum. Cruelty toward pets. Just cruelty in itself, can't understand it. Defenseless creatures. Makes me despair of humans. Where we are, all of us, right now. Like, where are we? What is this? You know? Why people when you're driving have the audacity to pull out in front of you and then drive slow ASF when there are literally no other cars around. Like, just wait for me to pass if you're going to go 5 to 10 miles per hour under the speed limit. How anyone could believe flat earth theory. Well, when you look off into the distance it looks flat and they just haven't thought about it past that. Either that or they have some sort of complex where they feel the need to be different and part of the enlightened ones to feel superior. Child abuse. Me either. I can wrap my head around adults being mean, cruel to other adults. I obviously don't like it but I can grasp it. But I can't grasp how someone could abuse a person that they helped bring into the world. Those realistic balls that some truck drivers have, it's so unnecessary that IDK why anyone would put that on their vehicle. People who idolize politicians. Like JFCY. If you want an answer, same mechanics why people idolize religious figures, YouTube stars, everyone they know but can't touch. Parasocial relationships. They feel like they're their best friends because the politicians say they care so much about them when really it's a persuasion tactic for their ideology. How some people just get to walk around living life without mental illness. Some people don't even know. I was just diagnosed with high anxiety and depression and I was arguing with the doctor everyone feels like this. It's normal to feel like this, I've always felt like this. No Aunt Slacked, you just don't know any different. How can we lose so much hair every day and still have hair stay a consistent length? Especially people who have long hair. Say you lose 100 hairs a day. That seems like a lot. However, most people have around 100,000 hairs on their scalp. That's only 0.1% of the total amount of hair you have. And those hairs start to grow back again pretty quickly. Littering. Fucking trash behavior. The human tendency to accept baseless speculation over objective analysis. Is your claim a speculation or an objective analysis? Cryptocurrency. I've it explained to me numerous times but it still goes right over my head. Think of it this way. We use money as a medium of exchange because it is hard to forge, meaning that you cannot create an arbitrary amount of it, because it is produced by governments, protected by governments, and is full of security features aimed at preventing forgery. Cryptocurrency is a way of producing something similarly hard to forge, but without requiring a government to regulate supply. It's just money, but stateless. Stocks, investments, inflation, interest rates, etc. Or anything to do with finance, really. That stuff is so confusing to me. People who are chronically late. I just don't get it. I've thought so much about it. I cannot understand. Especially the people who are very aware that they're chronically late and seem to feel genuine remorse. Just don't. I just cannot understand. I am that person and I don't understand it either. Edit. Thanks everyone for the comments. I have really appreciated working through some different perspectives on this. I am learning that late can be a symptom for a range of things, from limiting beliefs and over-optimism, right through to mental illness, as well as a signal of resistance for some reason. I am going to make a point of addressing my limiting beliefs, particularly around why I don't believe I can be on time and early. I will be making time to intentionally consider what I am committing to, with the view to activating my intrinsic motivation for appointments etc., reinforcing the positives of being prepared well beforehand. I see now that if I truly want to do the thing, and believe I am capable of being organized enough, and assuming no barriers of mental illness or executive dysfunction, then I can be on time more often, which should mitigate the feelings of disrespect which I hear are a problem from the other side. Thanks, Reddit. Slightly smiling face. Computers. Even though I own one, I literally don't know how to build one or fix one when needed. They are incredibly tiny, incredibly fiddly bits designed to do billions of tiny on-off tasks over and over again. There are folks who figure out the math to convert what we type into the machine's incredibly dull language. We only interact with them at the biggest levels anymore. Beyond that, it's all support structure, bringing power in, cooling them off, feeding them very fast on-off signals, and receiving on-off signals that come to us and pictures or music. They talk to each other, and on Reddit we are seeing information stored on other computers. If you want to explore in depth how they work, there are plenty of books and videos that break down the pieces. You can go as far down as you want. For most people it's enough to work out how to use them, and how humans do a good, or rubbish, in designing the programs we use. How plastic and metal can store information and magically make all sorts of things appear on a piece of glass. I'm so glad modern humans think modern tech is magic. That makes it all the more fun thinking of George Washington's head literally exploding at the sight of a touchscreen. Selfies. There is not a moment in the day that I think, I think I'll quickly take a photo of my own face. I just don't get it. 'Cause I'm hot as shit bitch look of triumph. People's lack of understanding of people. Like, even when I don't like someone or their beliefs, it's not hard to understand why they believe them even if they're wrong. So many people can't see things through other people's perspectives, and I just find it weird. Not saying I'm special, in fact I'm saying the opposite. It should be common sense. Empathy is very much not a skill everyone has. How people can be so hateful and for no reason. Like, I'm literally studying psychology, and it's at the point where I genuinely can't explain why some people are just nicer and more understanding of others. Everything I've learned has only made the answer harder, more complex, and ironically enough more vague. If you told me, breaking news, humanity is really split into two species and the deciding genetic factor is the ability to show empathy for people not like you, I'd believe it in a heartbeat. Fighting is fundamentally stupid. Intraspecies competition is universally harmful for every member of that species in the long run when resources aren't scarce, yet our species loves to create its own problems. Ridiculous.
Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.